Joining us here on the Kenny and JT Show on News Talk 1480 WHBC from Goodyear, Arizona, spring training home of the Cleveland Guardians, is the president of baseball operations, Chris Antonetti. Chris, thanks for making time for us. How are things going early in camp here in a short, condensed camp that you guys are dealing with this year?
Yeah, it's odd. It's both early and late at the same time, given the condensed nature. So our AAA team's actually going to be leaving here in a couple of days, and our Major League team in about a week. So we've had a lot to do in a short period of time, but we're excited to get going.
Go ahead, JT. Start things off with them.
Well, during the lockout, Chris, the minor leaguers were allowed to be practicing the entire time. Obviously, most of them were out at Goodyear or whatever. How does that benefit the franchise when you get to see all this young talent early?
Yeah, we've tried to do what we can to take advantage of the great year-round facility we have out here in Arizona, and not only have players out here during the summer league season, but really run a series of camps from the time that ends throughout the fall and winter to help players continue their development year-round. So they come into spring training and ready for the start of the season, hopefully in an improved place than they otherwise would have been.
All right,
because the last time we were there a couple years ago, you had just completed the new campus there at Goodyear. And I don't know how many people would live there, but do they live there year round? And how was it affected during the pandemic and during the lockout? Were they still there?
Well, there were times throughout the pandemic in which, because of the health environment, that we closed the complex.
Okay.
So there were multiple, again, based upon what was going on in the environment here in Goodyear and throughout the country, we always tried to make decisions that we felt were in the best interest of our players and staff and their health and well-being. And that was always a driving force. Now, to the extent we could have them in Goodyear and do that in a healthy and safe way and run camps, we did. But we wanted to, we were trying to find that right balance.
Speaking of health, Tito, healthy, ready to go for this year. You're smiling. JT and I have asked all the different guys the question, and that is having him back. What does it mean? What does he bring? Why is he so important to this organization in what is this, his 10th year, I think it is?
Yeah, Kenny, it's so good to see Tito back. He means so much to the organization, and not just to our Major League team. I mean, obviously, that's a huge element to have his leadership within the dugout for the 162-game schedule, but also just what he means to the organization and how he helps lead our entirety of our not just our team but the organization. And to have him back and energized, feeling great physically and mentally, will be great for us.
Chris, obviously so many changes this year, not only just a name change and the different logos going up at the stadium at home, but a lot of rule changes as well. How does that affect what you do on a daily basis? And are you involved in the rules committee?
So a couple things. So there are a few minor adjustments at the Major League level. Most of those are around rosters. We expect to have an opening day roster of 28 players with no limits on pitching. And then once May 1st hits, we'll go back to a 26-man roster, but this will be the first year in which we have a 13-pitcher limit. That's the primary rule change at the Major League level. I think a lot of the other rules you're referencing and those changes are happening throughout the minor leagues. And I think it's been great that we are experimenting with those. We're beginning to get information and data as opposed to just guessing what impact they've had. We've been able to actually see it. And I'm encouraged and excited by some of those developments, and hopefully they can find their way to the Major League level, because I do think some of them will benefit the game and help us get to the best version of baseball that we all want to see.
Chris Antonetti joining us, president of baseball operations for the Guardians. And Chris, let's talk about the roster again. With all these conversations we've had, pitching rich, starting rotation as good as anybody's in Major League Baseball. Is it safe to say, fair to say, that this team will go as far as the starting rotation takes it, or no?
Well, no question, our starting rotation will be an important element of our team. It has been a strength for us over the years. Last year, a number of those guys were injured. So first and foremost, we're trying to take the time we have in Goodyear to help position each of them to have a successful and healthy season. So yes, we expect them to be a big part of our team this year, but we also recognize that for us to be the team we want to be, we need to get contributions from our bullpen and also from our position player group. And we believe that will happen.
Let's talk about that because, there was in the offseason talk about the Guardians were going to spend some money, be active in free agency, maybe in trades, take on some salaries, looking for that, corner outfielder or two. And there really haven't been any moves there. Take us through how active or inactive you were. And is that something that could still change where you bring somebody in to help the offense?
Yeah, Kenny, as I mentioned, like we do have flexibility in this year's payroll, and that wasn't our limiting factor this year. It was really a function of, I think, a couple things. One, we really do feel excited and energized about the group of players, the young players that are at the major league level, and the waves of talent we feel are ready to come from our minor league system and help contribute and help us win at the major league level. Now, so that's a really healthy position to be in. We did target a subset of players in both trades and free agency to really try to raise the bar and bring in some really talented players. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get something done with that group of players. But after that, we didn't want to just bring players in to bring them in, just so we had transactions. We didn't want to get in a place where we had a veteran who maybe wasn't moving the needle in terms of our team's competitiveness and could be an obstacle and an impediment to a young player we'd like to give that opportunity to because we think he's going to help us both this year and in the future. That was a little bit of the balance that we were working through this winter. We were active in trying to find that top, that top end talent, but we weren't just looking to sign someone to fill a hole in the roster at the expense of maybe a young player.
And Chris, with Jose and Shane, those two guys come to mind. Franmil, you've got for a few years. You don't have to worry about, as far as the contract goes. But with Bieber, and I saw he went to arbitration, got a nice bump in pay in that. But people look at him and go, man, he'd be a nice guy to build that entire rotation around for many years to come. Are they going to extend him? Same with Jose. Is he different than some of the other players we hear? He might be willing to take a hometown discount to stay here. Any thoughts or talks recently on extending either one of those guys?
And Kenny, out of respect to both Shane and Jose, it's consistent with how we've handled individual contract negotiations in the past. We stay out of the day-to-day updates on those, but what I can tell you in both their cases is that we have an incredible amount of respect and appreciation for not only their contributions on the field, but what they mean to our team in the clubhouse and our organization. So, we would love nothing more than to have Shane and Jose be Guardians for a long time to come.
How are you with the Guardians? Or have you slipped up? JT and I have. We're putting $10 in the cookie jar every time we say Indians.
$10 each time. I'd be broke if it was $10. So I'm getting better. I'm getting better over time. I don't think I've slipped up in this interview yet, so I'll take that as a success. But I am excited about our new path as the Guardians. We all have so many incredible memories of our time with the Indians, but this is a new and exciting chapter for us as we look forward, and I'm excited to get our team on the field to create some new memories as the Cleveland Guardians.
What has to happen this year, Chris, for you guys to get back to the postseason? 80 and 82 last year. You mentioned some of the injuries. You finished in second place in the division. Other teams in the division have gotten better. Okay, so what needs to happen overall for this team to be a division contender and an AL contender?
Yeah, I think we have been pretty transparent about just the youth of our group, and we need that young group to take a step forward. And our focus is how do we help that group prepare to do that? And to the extent our young players can make meaningful strides in their development and make that transition to not just getting an opportunity at the major league level, but getting that opportunity, taking advantage of it and helping us win, I think that's largely going to impact the success of our season.
Chris, from a marketing standpoint now, baseball's taken a huge hit for the past, 6, 7, 8 months due to the lockout and everything else. Some people are for, some people against, some people don't mind, like myself, the name change. To me, the most important thing is Cleveland on the chest. But baseball in general, going up against, and especially in Cleveland, a young, exciting team like the Cavaliers, we haven't been in the playoffs without a LeBron James since 1998. The Browns making waves in the NFL right now, basically on top. What's your marketing strategy and what is your basic message to the fans as we get ready for the 2022 season?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure on the best way to market it. That's probably not my area of expertise. But in terms of where we are in the story for our team, I think there's a couple things. One, We have been, I think we have the second best record in the American League over the last, since Tito's been here since 2013. So we've demonstrated a track record of having successful teams. And we have this young group of players that we think we're on an exciting point in our team that we're going to be building from here. And we think that this group's got a chance to not only do great things this year, but for years to come. And as you think about, a fan base kind of getting behind a group of players, we think this is a great time to hop on board because the future is really bright. And now our goal is to try to accelerate that future success as quickly as possible and as soon as this year. And that's really what we're focused on.
Since there was no money spent in free agency or a big trade in the offseason, does that mean we should expect or can expect the I guess, possibility of you guys doing something in season once you see how things are going, or even before the season starts as spring training winds down?
Yeah, if there are those opportunities, again, I don't anticipate that our finances will be limited. That's been, I think if you even look back at any point, any year in which we've been in contention around the trade deadline, we've been incredibly fortunate to have the resources to go out and get that missing piece, whether that was around the regular trade deadline or we made significant acquisitions like Josh Donaldson around the August deadline too. So that's never been a limiting factor for us before, Kenny, in those years in which we've had competitive teams, and I don't expect that to be a limiting factor for us this year.
All right, we're going to let you go on this. Final Fours this weekend, so we're doing, in tribute to that, we're doing a favorite four. We've got 4 questions. We want to know Chris Antonetti's favorites in these categories. Okay. I think I know this one, but I'll ask since we're asking everybody this. Your favorite band is artist, musical artist?
Musical artist, I'll go with Bruce Springsteen.
That's what I thought. Pam Cook, our boss, we'll love to hear that. That's great. Favorite TV show to watch, stream, whatever, past or current?
Currently streaming Billions, which I found to be pretty interesting.
Okay. All right. What about favorite movie of all time?
Memento.
I don't know that one. Yeah. What's the premise of that?
Awesome. It's about a guy that he's unable to form short-term memories. So he has Post-it notes and tattoos, and he's trying to figure out what happened to him to get up to this point. I don't want to ruin too much because it's a mind-bending movie. It is awesome if you haven't seen it.
The subtitle to that movie, I think, is Kenny Rhoda.
I was going to say, you said Post-it notes. I got them all over the place here. I wrote it down. I'm going to have to look for. Thank you for that, Chris.
There's lots of great movies. I normally go to that one because it's not as popular as some of the other great movies that are out there.
That's fantastic. All right. And what about a favorite meal, dinner, food? Is there something that at the top of Chris Antonetti's list?
I'm pretty simple. I mean, I love lots of food, but chicken tenders and French fries are probably my favorite food.
You are Kenny Rhoda.
I tell you a lot in common. See, I know I can't go to them every day, but when I have them, I really enjoy them.
See that?
Kenny, you want to run a baseball team? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he makes fun of me because chicken tenders and fries, man. I just had it last night. I did the Chick-fil-A, and it was fantastic, and I was on cloud 9.
I'm telling Bobby DiBiasio, I'm out of here,
man. Hey, Chris, thanks for making time for us. We always appreciate it. Good luck this season, and let's catch up again later on in the year and see how things are going, all right?
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for the time today.
All right, there he is, Chris Antonetti. Check it. How about that, JT? Chicken tenders, baby.
I love that.
I don't believe it. We'll get a break in right now. We'll come back with more of the Kenny and JT show right after this.